Once upon a time, there existed a land called Britain. One day, it would become the country of Shakespeare, Churchill, the Beatles, Sean Connery, Harry Potter, David Beckham's right foot, David Beckham's left foot, come to that, tea, fish and chips, a big clock tower, One Direction, Jane Austen, Sherlock Holmes, and Downton Abbey. But in 84 AD, it was the land the Romans had just conquered. When the Romans abandoned Britannia in the 5th century, the native Celtic tribes began to fight amongst themselves. A few called in reinforcements in the forms of Angles, Saxons, and Jutes, and the Anglo-Saxon occupation of Britain began. In the second half of the 9th century, the Vikings came to conquer Britain. This ended in 1066 when William, Duke of Normandy, won a major succession battle and was crowned King William I. The successions after William were bloody and disorganized, and the monarchy was weak, making it an opportune time for documents such as the Magna Carta. Edward III brought strength and honor to the crown again, but his reign included the start of the 100 Years' War and spread of bubonic plague. Henry VI lost most of the English possessions in France to Joan of Arc, and in 1455 the War of the Roses broke out. The victor was Lancastrian Henry Tudor, who began the Tudor dynasty. Next came the infamous reign of King Henry VIII. He officially brought Wales under his rule and had issues with having a son. After his death, many of his children had time on the throne, but the most notable was that of the Virgin Queen Elizabeth I, as she saw to England's first golden age. Elizabeth died in 1603 and was succeeded by James VI of Scotland, who became King James I of England, joining the two nations under one rule and beginning the Stuart dynasty. This time in history was marked by much religious strife as well as an English civil war. The monarchy was temporarily replaced by a dictatorship under a man by the name of Oliver Cromwell, but was restored in 1660 with King Charles II. When Charles died without an heir, the throne was passed to his unpopular younger brother James. James was removed in an almost bloodless battle called the Glorious Revolution. In 1707, Scotland was officially brought into the United Kingdom. The next lack of an heir led the throne to be passed to a German relative, George of Hanover. The king's inability to communicate well led him to appoint a de facto prime minister. This marked a turning point in British politics as prime ministers continued to hold the government reins. During the reign of King George III, the American colonies gained their independence. The 19th century was dominated by the British Empire spreading onto 5 of the continents, as well as the kingdoms of Great Britain and Ireland merging, the battles of Trafalgar and Waterloo saving the UK from Napoleon's forces, and the start of the Industrial Revolution. In 1837, the throne passed to Queen Victoria, who was to have the longest reign of any British monarch, rule over 40% of the globe and a quarter of the world's population. Victoria's numerous children married into about all of Europe's royal families. The alliances created here would be of use during World War I. Notable post-war events included the general strike of 1926 and women's suffrage in 1928. September 1939 saw the start of the Second World War. In 1945, the British Empire was dismantled little by little. In the middle of the Korean War, at the age of 26, Elizabeth II ascended to the throne and remains there today. In 1979, Margaret Thatcher became the first female prime minister and stayed until 1990. It's hard to tell what else will be of note in modern history, but following the royal family, the death of Princess Diana came in 1997, the marriage of William and Kate in 2011, the birth of Prince George in 2013, and of Princess Charlotte last year.